alien jungle was quiet, but not silent. Strange birds with glowing feathers chirped in the distance. Trees with blue leaves swayed gently under twin moons. Somewhere near the edge of the human research camp, a young man named Jace wiped sweat from his brow as he tightened a bolt on a solar converter. Jace was one of the only humans on this planet, an engineer sent to fix power problems in a remote alien outpost. He was used to working alone. But tonight, he wasn't. Someone was. Watching him, hidden in the thick brush nearby, a girl with pale purple skin and wide glowing eyes stared at him. Her name was Nayari. She belonged to one of the local alien tribe's mysterious people who rarely spoke to humans, but she had seen Jace before. Many times, every night, she would come quietly and watch him work, curious about the strange tools. He used the way he hummed human songs, the way he smiled at broken machines like they were his friends. Tonight, though things were different, suddenly a loud snap echoed through the trees. A large energy rod from Jace's machine gave out and fell right toward him. Jace turned just in time. But before he could react, Nayari leapt out of the shadows. She tackled him to the ground, saving him from being crushed. They both hit the dirt. Hard. Jace grunted, blinking up at the creature who had just saved his life. She was beautiful, not in a human way, but in a way that made his chest feel tight. Her long white hair brushed across his face. Her skin shimmered under moonlight. Breathing was fast. Her hands rested on his chest. For a moment, they stared at each other. Then something strange happened. She leaned in and without a word, kissed him. It wasn't a long kiss. Just a short touch of her soft lips against his. Warm, gentle, and confusing. Before Jace could say anything, Nayari jumped up, her face red. Wait, could she blush? Oh, and disappeared into the trees without another word. Jace sat there in the dirt, stunned. What just happened? He whispered to himself. The next morning, Jace told no one. Who would believe him anyway? Jungle Girl kissed him, then ran off. It sounded like a weird dream. He kept working like normal. Ate breakfast. Repaired the water filters. Tried to forget it, but by evening, she returned. And she wasn't alone. Jace was sitting near his tent, fixing a drone blade, when he heard soft footsteps. He looked up. It was Nayari. And in her arms, she held something. Wrapped in dark tribal cloth was a small glowing creature. It cooed softly. It had tiny limbs. It had his eyes. Jace stood up slowly. Nayari. He asked carefully. She walked up to him and held out the bundle. You kissed me, she said in her soft, musical voice. So now, this is yours. Jace's eyes widened. Wait, what? Mine? What is this? She gently placed the glowing bundle into his arms. The child opened its eyes. Human eyes. But something else, too. Something. Not. Jace's knees felt weak. This is a baby. My weight. Our baby. Nayari simply nodded. Jace looked around. There were no hidden cameras. No prank show. This was real. This can't be real, he whispered. In my tribe, Nayari explained, a kiss creates a life bond. If the bond is strong enough, life forms. Doesn't make sense. That's not how biology works. It is for us, she said calmly. The bond was instant, complete. Jace sat down slowly, the child still in his arms. Its skin glowed gently. It smiled at him. He felt cold sweat on his back. This happened overnight. Yes, Nayari nodded. You are now its father. I am its mother. Jace looked at her, then the child, then back at her. What do we do now? Nayari smiled for the first time. We raise it together. And then she added softly, my tribe will come soon. They will want to see the child. They will. Want to see you? Jace's heart dropped. Oh no, he whispered. What have I gotten myself into? Jace was still half asleep when he heard the knocking. Not the kind you hear on a door. This was softer. A rhythm against metal. Almost polite. He sat up in his tent, rubbing his eyes. The morning light outside was golden, and the jungle was already humming with life. Birds chirped, insects buzzed, and distant roars echoed from deeper in the forest. Then the knocking came again. Clink. Clink. He stepped out barefoot, still dazed, expecting maybe a maintenance alert from the autodrones. But what he saw at the entrance of the camp stopped him cold. There, standing silently, was Nayari. Her long silver hair was tied up now, her tribal cloak wrapped around her tightly. But what drew Jace's eyes wasn't her face. It was what she carried in. Her arms, a small cradle-like pod. Tribal wood, vines, and soft cloth held together by glowing alien energy threads. Inside it, a baby, breathing, moving baby. Hey, hold on, is that? Jace blinked hard like sleep was playing tricks. Nayari nodded. Her face was calm, but her eyes were nervous. This is ours, she said simply. Jace stepped back, nearly tripping over a tool crate. Ours? What do you mean ours? This is a baby. Yes, yours and mine. I kissed you less than 24 hours ago. She tilted her head, confused. That's when life starts. Jace shook his head. Human biology doesn't work like that. She gently rocked the baby in her arms. Neither does ours. A few minutes later, inside his tent, Jace sat on a crate while Nayari stood near the sleeping child. His hands trembled slightly as he poured water into a cup. This is crazy, he muttered. It's impossible. Not for my people, Nayari replied. We are El Yari. Our ancestors were made from energy, not flesh. A strong emotional connection can create life instantly. If the bond is true, the child will form within hours. Jace stared blankly at her. That sounds like science fiction. She raised a brow. You are in a science fiction, human. Fair? Pointy leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Why are you here? Why bring it to me? Because the child must know its father, and because Nayari hesitated. My tribe knows now. They felt the change in the ether. They're coming. Jace's stomach turned. They're coming here. Yes. To see if you are worthy. Worthy of what? To be part of the bloodline. A sudden buzzing noise echoed outside the tent. Jace jumped up, grabbing a small scanner. A red warning blinked on its screen. 6. Life forms. Approaching fast. Not animals. Not human. Alien signatures. Nayari turned to him. They're early. Jace panicked. Do they know I didn't mean for this to happen? It was just a kiss? Heat of vomit thing? She nodded slowly. That doesn't matter. You touched a sacred part of me. The bond was sealed. Pointed at the child. And this is it. Healthy? I mean, it's half human, half you. Nayari looked down at the child. It is strong. Too strong. The energy inside him is ancient. Forbidden. The tent flaps blew open. 6 tall figures entered, armored, their eyes glowing like fireflies. One elder stepped forward and spoke in Nayari's language. Jace couldn't understand it, but the tone sent chills down his spine. Nayari answered. Calmly then, she turned to Jace. They say if the child is real, if it lives, they will accept the bond. And if they don't, her eyes darkened. They may take him and kill you. Jace froze. The child stirred and opened its small eyes, blue, just like his. A tiny hand reached up toward him, and without thinking, Jace stepped forward and picked the baby up. He held it gently in his arms. I don't know what you are, he whispered to the child, but I won't let anyone hurt you. The moment he said it, the baby's skin shimmered. The tent filled with a warm pulse of light. The tribal elders stepped back in shock. One of them dropped to one knee. Another whispered something in awe. What's happening? Jace asked quickly. Nayaris. Voice shook for the first time. You just accepted the bond. So, that wasn't just a word, she whispered. You said it with your heart. And you are now the protector of the hybrid. You are part of the prophecy. Jace blinked. Wait, what prophecy? Nayari took his hand, her voice firm. One that says when a human touches Eliari blood with pure intent, The world will change. The jungle hadn't slept. Birds screamed all night. Trees whispered like they were alive. Even the ground felt restless beneath Jace's boots. He hadn't blinked in hours. Not since he held that strange glowing baby. It's not since alien warriors bowed to him. Not since Nayari said the words that still echoed in his head, "You're part of the prophecy." Now, inside the tent, the baby floated. Yes, floated. Cribless, effortless. Glowing softly in the air, like it weighed nothing. Jace sat against the wall, arms crossed, eyes wide. "This is not normal," he muttered. "I told you," Nayari said softly, kneeling beside the child. "Nothing about Elyari children is normal, especially one born of human blood." "Born?" Jace scoffed. "He was assembled in like 8 hours." "He was formed by the bond," Nayari corrected. "You activated the soul seed. That's why he's different." Jace rubbed his face. "Different? The kid just turned my portable generator into soup." "Energy overflow," Nayari said calmly. "His cells are unstable. He's too strong too early." Jace looked up at her. "Is he dangerous?" She didn't answer. Suddenly, the baby giggled. A burst of blue light pulsed out from its tiny chest. Jace's hair stood on end. Every device in the tent sparked and shut off. Even Nayari gasped. "He's evolving. Too fast." Jace jumped up. "You said this was because I kissed you. But that kiss, I didn't know it would do this." She stood too. Her voice was calm but firm. "And I didn't know you would awaken the ancient bond. No Elyar male ever could. Your biology, your soul. It triggered something lost for thousands of years." He pointed at the floating baby. "Then how do we stop it? It's just a baby, but he's acting like a mini black hole." "Don't stop it," she said. "We protect him until he stabilizes. What if he never does?" Nayari's eyes turned sharp. "Then the planet will burn." Jace froze. Outside. Another flare lit up the sky more. Alien ships arriving. Nayari walked to the edge of the tent and peeked out. "The Grand Elders are coming? Oh great. More aliens judging me for one kiss." She looked back. "They won't judge. They'll want to use him," Jace narrowed his eyes. "Use? Like train him?" "No, like a weapon. A symbol. Maybe worse. They'll see him as the return of the Elyari war god. And what if I say no?" Nayari didn't hesitate. "Then they'll kill you, and take him anyway." Jace grabbed a satchel, his voice low and hard. "Then we're leaving." They ran into the jungle. Night swallowed them whole, with vines brushing their faces and roots tripping their steps. Nayari led the way, carrying the child still glowing faintly. Jace followed, using a small light to guide his feet. "Where are we even going?" he whispered. "To the nesting caverns," Nayar said. "It's where Elyar used to give birth. It's sacred, hidden. He might be safe there." But the path got steeper. The air got heavier. Strange beasts howled in the dark, but none came close. Maybe they sensed what the baby carried. Or maybe they were afraid. By sunrise, they reached the mouth of a hidden cave. Nayari turned. "This is where you'll understand about our biology, about the power you triggered." Inside, bioluminescent plants lit the walls in green and gold. Jace stepped slowly, eyes scanning the carvings. Old stone murals showed Elyari figures, some glowing, some exploding. He stopped at one panel, a human, standing beside an Elyari woman, and between them, a floating baby, exactly like theirs. Jace felt a chill. "This happened before?" Nayari nodded. "Long ago. The bond was lost in time. You're the first in generations to bring it back." "And what happened to that baby?" She didn't answer. That told him everything. Deep in the cave, the baby suddenly stopped glowing. Its little body jerked once. Twice, then it screamed. A sound so high, it cracked stone above them. Nayari clutched her chest. "It's beginning." "What has Jace shouted?" "The fusion. Human and Elyari DNA. It's rejecting itself. He's burning from the inside." Jace rushed forward. No, we can't lose him now." He knelt, unsure what to do. Then, acting on instinct, he touched the baby's forehead. A pulse of warmth shot from his hand. The baby stopped crying. Its eyes blinked once and turned gold. Nyari gasped. The bond, it's deepening. Jace looked at her. What does that mean? She looked both scared and amazed. It means he's becoming something new. Jace woke up to whispers, not voices, but thoughts. They weren't his. He sat up. Breath caught in his throat. The baby was floating again, wrapped in soft light, spinning slowly above a circle of glowing stones. Rai knelt nearby with her eyes closed, chanting in a tongue that sounded ancient, painful, and powerful. Something sacred was happening, but Jace felt something else, a pressure in his chest. Like something unseen had crawled inside him during the night and now pulsed beneath. His skin, he looked down. On his forearm a symbol had appeared, faint, golden, and burning. Nyari, he whispered. What's happening to me? She opened her eyes and looked at him, both calm and serious. You are being claimed. Jace backed away, staring. At the glowing mark? Claimed by what? Not what she said, standing slowly. By whom, the baby? He's chosen you? I didn't ask to be chosen. It doesn't matter, she said. You kissed me. You awakened the seed. You held him. You calmed his first scream. Now, the bond has formed on both ends. Jace's heart pounded. This is too much. I'm not a father. Not even ready to adopt a dog? Nyari stepped closer, her voice firm. You are no longer just human. The child is rewriting your essence, making you part Elyari. His body is half yours, and now your soul is bending to match his. He stumbled back, gripping his chest. Then, what happens now? She didn't blink. Now, you take responsibility. Before Jace could respond, a deep hum echoed through the cavern. Nayar's expression darkened. They've found us. He looked toward the entrance. The elders? No, she said. Something worse. Outside wind picked up, though. There were no skies inside this mountain. The cave trembled. Lights dimmed. The baby's glow faded into a pale flicker. Nyari quickly grabbed the child. They're here for him. For his power. They don't want a future. They want a weapon. Who? Jace demanded. She looked him dead in the eyes. The Council of Thorns. Jace stared blankly. That sounds like a villain group from a comic book. She didn't smile. They are. Just with real ships, real blades, real laws. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the cavern's entrance. Cold, robotic, and commanding. Human, step forward. The child is not yours. Jace stepped protectively in front of Nyari and the baby. He's not yours either. Another voice responded. Deeper and sharper. You were not chosen by right. Your mistake. Let the bloodline correct itself. A group of shadowed figures stepped in, cloaked in thorn-like armor, with glowing staffs and floating helmets. Their presence made the cave walls groan. Nyar hissed. They'll try to separate us. Once the bond breaks, the child will destabilize. Jace squared his shoulders. So what do we do? Nyari handed him the baby, and then something unbelievable happened. The moment the baby touched Jace's skin, his golden arm symbol glowed fiercely. And so did the baby's tiny chest. The council stopped. One of them stepped forward and spoke. In a slower, almost fearful tone. Impossible. The child has accepted the human imprint completely. Jace narrowed his eyes. Yeah, so what does that mean? The tallest figure spoke now. It means if you die, the child dies. We can't harm you without destroying the future. Silence fell, and then Nyari said something even more shocking. Then mark him now. Jace turned. Mark. Me. With what? She pulled out a small glass vial with glowing white liquid inside. This is lifeblood, the final link. Once dropped into your veins, no power in the galaxy can separate you from the child. He stared at it. And if I say no, the council answered for her, then we take the baby, and you forget everything. Jace looked at the child, at Nair, at the golden glow pulsing between all three. He'd kissed an alien girl, he'd created a hybrid baby, and now The galaxy wanted his son. He sighed. Fine, give me the space juice. Nayari smiled softly and pierced his wrist. The liquid sank in. Jace screamed, but not in pain. In change. A pulse shook the cavern. The council stepped back in fear. The baby laughed, and Jason, now glowing with a golden aura, stood tall. Okay, he said breathlessly. Oh. Now, I'm ready to take responsibility. The moon above the jungle split in two. Not literally. But that's what it looked like when the silent black ship descended from orbit. It didn't roar like a normal vessel. It simply appeared, cutting through the night sky like a dark blade. Inside, the nesting cavern. Jace's eyes snapped open. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He looked over. Nayari and the child were asleep on a bed of glowing moss. Soft, peaceful. But the air was too still. The cave was too quiet. Even the vines on the walls seemed to have frozen in fear. Then he heard it click, click, click. Metal toes, light steps. Someone or something was already inside. Jay slowly reached for the blade Nayari had left him earlier. Alien metal, curved like a crescent moon. Not exactly made for a human hand, but it would do. Suddenly, snap, the sound of something crawling across the ceiling. Jay stepped into the shadows, heart racing, muscles tight. Then he saw it. A tall figure cloaked in ink-black skin, wearing no armor, no lights, just eyes like bloodstones. It walked toward the sleeping Nayari with slow grace. One long blade slid from its wrist. Aimed at the baby, JC didn't hesitate. He launched forward, silent and fast hand, tackled the assassin. To the ground, the blade missed the child by inches. The alien hissed in surprise, flipping Jace onto his back in one smooth move. It struck down once, twice, but Jace blocked the slashes with the alien dagger. Sparks flying, he kicked hard, sending the attacker into a stone wall. Nayari jolted awake. No, the assassin disappeared, vanished into shadow. More will. Come, Nayari said, grabbing the baby and backing against the wall. What was that thing? Jace panted. A Shadeborn assassin, she said. Trained to silence prophecy children before they grow to powerful, they send assassins. For babies, they fear him, Nayari said darkly. And now they fear you too. Suddenly, 3 more shadows dropped from the ceiling. No words. No hesitation. They moved in perfect silence. One went for Nayari, one for the child, and one for Jace. Jace screamed and charged first. He met the middle assassin midair, slamming him into a stone pillar. The alien blade in his hand shimmered. As he drove it into the creature's side, it screeched and evaporated into dust. Jay blinked. That worked. Nayari tossed him a second blade. Those weapons are forged from star venom. Only they can pierce Shadeborn. The other assassin reached Nayari, slashing her arm. She cried out but didn't fall. She twisted, kicked, and used her glowing hand to strike the assassin's throat, then stabbed it. In the heart, the creature dissolved into mist. But the last one was already at the baby. No. Jace shouted, too far to slow, but the baby opened its eyes. The air boomed with invisible energy. Time seemed to pause for a second. The assassin froze mid-strike, body shaking like it was caught in a thunderstorm. Then the baby let out a soft sound, not a scream, not a cry, just a hum, a deep, otherworldly hum. The assassin crumbled to ash without ever being touched. Silence returned. Jace rushed forward. Dropping to his knees beside the child, it blinked at him, calm, glowing gold and blue now. Nayari fell beside him, bleeding from her arm. He protected himself, she whispered. Jace held the child close. Shouldn't have to. Later that night, after they sealed the cave entrance with stone and energy wards, Jace sat beside Nayari. Both of them bruised and bloody. I'm not ready for this, Jace whispered. I'm not trained. I'm not even a soldier.
Nayari
leaned her head against his shoulder. But you fought. You protected us. And the child responded to you. That matters more than training. Jace looked at his hands. Hands that now shook less. hands that held life. "I didn't ask for any of this," he muttered, "but I'm not walking away." Nayari smiled weakly. "Good," she said softly, "because now that the prophecy has truly begun, they'll all come for him." Jace looked at the baby again. It reached for his finger. He let it grab hold. "Let them come," he whispered. "This time, I'll be ready." The mist was alive. It moved in strange ways, curling around branches, dancing between roots and whispering secrets. Only ghosts should know. Jace stepped into it anyway. The baby was wrapped tightly to his chest in glowing cloth. Nayari limped. Beside him, her wounded arm wrapped in vines that pulsed with healing light. Behind them, the nesting cavern burned. The Council of Thorns had betrayed them. The Shadeborn assassins were only the beginning. Now, the entire jungle was watching and hunting. "This forest wasn't here yesterday," Jace whispered, as the trees shifted and changed. Nayari nodded. "It's the mistroot. It grows when sacred blood is spilled. The forest awakens to protect or trap those it deems unworthy," Jace muttered. "A forest that decides who lives." A branch twisted behind him. No wind. No sound. But it moved. Nayari touched his shoulder. "We must go where the fog is thickest. That's where the elder tree sleeps. Sounds lovely. It's the only place that can hide him." Jace glanced at the child pressed to his chest. The baby's eyes were glowing but dimmer now, tired, fading. "If we don't get there soon, we'll burn out," Nayari said, her voice tense. "Then we run." But they didn't get far. Not 5 minutes into the deeper woods, the ground rumbled. From beneath the roots rose creatures made of bark and bone, forest guardians. Summoned by the child's wild energy, they had no faces, just hollow holes and antlers. One stepped forward. Towering over Jack, it spoke in a dead language, but the baby responded. A soft hum. The creature stopped. It knelt. The others followed. Nayari's eyes widened. He's not just Elyari. He's tree-bound too. The forest spirit marked him. Jace exhaled. "Can that help us survive?" The mist thickened again, and suddenly the guardians moved, not to attack, but to lead. Through twisting paths and narrow valleys, the guardians ran ahead, clearing the way with every step, vines untangled, branches bent. Hidden traps dissolved into glowing spores. Jace felt the baby's warmth grow stronger the deeper they went. But the peace didn't last long. A loud shriek tore through the trees behind them. Jace turned and saw black shadows breaking through the mist. Council hunters, 6 dash-legged creatures, bone armor, and riders humanoid, armed with thorn riffles and energy nets. "They're using tracking spores?" Nayari gasped. "We need to move faster." Jace looked around. The mist was vanishing. The guardians were fading. The forest was abandoning them. "No," he whispered. "Don't leave us now." He looked at the baby and made a choice. He placed the child gently into Nayar's arms, then turned to face the mist alone. "What are you doing?" Nayari cried. "They want me," Jace said. "The human who changed the prophecy. The one who broke their rules. If I give them a chase, maybe you'll get through." "I won't leave you. You have to," he said. "He's more important than I am." He turned toward the sound of the hunters and ran. Branches slapped his face. Roots tore his boots. Didn't care behind him. The child cried softly, but Nayari didn't scream this time. She ran the other way, toward safety. The hunters caught his trail. 4 of them split from the main group. Chasing Jace like wolves, he jumped over logs, slid down muddy slopes, and ducked thorn blades that flew past his ears. Every time he looked back, they were closer, and then he stopped running. He turned and stood, breathing hard, blade in hand. "If you want him," he shouted into the trees, "you'll have to kill me first." The hunters moved in, fast and silent. But just before they reached him, the mist came back. Not slowly. All at once it swallowed the trees. The sky, the sound, and the next thing Jace saw was the baby glowing in Nayar's arms. Standing beside a tree bigger than a mountain, the elder tree, and its voice entered. It's mine like thunder wrapped in silk. You offered your life, you are worthy, the bloodline is protected. Rest now, human, you are not alone. Jace collapsed to his knees. The hunters were gone. The baby slept. Safe, and for the first time since this began, Jace let himself breathe. The forest was silent now, not dead, not asleep, just listening. Jace lay still beneath the roots of the elder tree. The massive trunk arched above him like a sleeping titan, its glowing sap pulsing with life. The air shimmered with energy, and the mist had finally cleared. He opened his eyes slowly, his body sore and bruised, but he was alive. Nayari knelt beside him, the child nestled in her arms, eyes closed, breathing softly. He's safe, she whispered. Jace gave a tired smile. We made it. You did, she corrected. He chose you. Jace sat up, wincing. Why me, though? I'm not a soldier. I'm not special. I fix broken machines. Nayari looked down at the baby and gently stroked his tiny head. Exactly why. You didn't want power. You didn't want control. You only wanted to protect. Jace looked at the baby, his son, and sighed. He deserves better than me. The elder tree spoke again, not with sound, but with thought. You gave without asking. You fought without hating. You stayed. Even when the galaxy turned against you. Jace felt warmth spread through his chest. The symbol on his arm glowed again, brighter than ever before. Suddenly, the child woke and did something no one expected. He floated again, but this time not with fear or chaos. With purpose. He hovered gently between them, arms outstretched, and then he spoke. Not in words, in images. Visions. Jake saw 100 stars. He saw a massive ship made of living crystal. He saw humans and Eliari working side by side. He saw a piece of future no one believed was possible. Then the baby reached out and touched Jace's chest. A spark passed between them, and Jace knew he wasn't just the father of a hybrid child. He was the bridge between two worlds. Nayari's voice trembled. He just gave you his imprint. That's impossible. Jace blinked. What does it mean? It means he sees you not just as protector, she said, but as his guide, his anchor. You are now his final link to this world. The elder tree confirmed it with a whisper. The child's power will one day grow beyond stars and planets, but his soul is bound to yours. As they prepared to leave the Mistrute forest, a quiet army waited outside. Not soldiers, not hunters, but Eliari. Men, women, elders, and children, gathered with soft glowing lights, heads bowed in respect. Ah, young priestess stepped forward. She looked at Jace, then the child. The prophecy spoke of destruction, she said. But we see now, it meant rebirth. Jace cleared his throat. So you're not going to kill me? The crowd chuckled gently. No, she said, smiling. We ask you to lead. Weeks passed. Jace stayed in the jungle village with Nayari, and the baby now named Cairo, after a lost star. The Eliari began to change too. The old ways of bloodlines and isolation slowly faded. Humans from orbit were invited for talks. Not for war, for peace. Nayari stood beside Jace, every step of the way. Sometimes as a guide, sometimes as a warrior. Always, while his bondmate. On the night of the Twin Moons crossing, Cairo took his first steps right into Jace's arms. The crowd cheered, elders wept, even the jungle sang, and as Jace held his son beneath the glowing trees, he smiled for the first time in weeks. Not in shock, or fear, or confusion, but in peace. Because even though it had started with one wild kiss, in the jungle, it ended with something greater, a family.